Joining me right now, one half of the main event, Chaos and Clovis 2, Elijio Sena. We finally got connected. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for getting a hold of me.
All right, so first off, that whole Facebook thing, not as easy as it says it is, right?
No, it wouldn't let me connect. So
All right, well, how are you doing? How's camp been, sir?
camp is amazing, man. We got about another 3 or 4 days worth of camp, and then we're officially done with it. We're ready to rock and roll.
Where do you train out of?
I train out of Clovis, New Mexico. I go to Roy Walker Community Center, which is a gym that my dad has for the last 30 years. And I actually go to Force of One and train with Master Swan as well.
Were you training at Force of One when you and Omar fought each other?
No, not at that time. No, that's actually how I started going to the gym after I had fought Omar. I started going and working out over there as well. I go over there and do mitts and stuff with Coach.
Isn't that crazy how connections will build like that? You fight a guy, you meet a team, you realize you're close, you start working together?
Yeah. It actually builds friendships, man. It's cool how that works out.
So what's that been like training not just at a boxing gym, but also sometimes then at a martial arts school?
It's different. Of course, they use their legs and do whatever they do, jiu-jitsu and all that stuff. I don't do none of that. I was raised boxing, so I go in there and I help the guys with their stand-up and do what I got to do to help them out, get ready for fights. Fighters such as Harvey and Jamie and Nico, and help them guys out a little bit with their stand-up.
Now for you, it's been a little bit of a layoff. It's been since 2016. Is there a reason?
There was a reason. My mom, when I fought Brandon, my mom was sick. She had lung cancer. She was actually in the hospital in Denver at the time. Um, so my head wasn't right. Not using that as an excuse, but she ended up passing away about a month after that fight. So I took a little bit of time off, but now we're back and we're ready to rock and roll and take on whoever in the state wants to get some.
How long had you been searching for a fight? How long had you thought that you wanted to return to the ring, that you were ready to?
Uh, it's been about 4 or 5 months. I got the itch back, and I was telling my fiance that I was ready to get back and do it. Growing up in the sport, it's just in my blood. So I just look forward to getting in there and doing what I do best.
How old were you the first time you stepped in the ring?
First time I stepped in the ring, I was 12 years old.
And how old were you the first time you started training?
Ooh, I'm nine. I'm 8 years old. I actually had a couple of amateur fights when I turned 12, and then I turned 16 and turned open, and started doing Golden Gloves. And actually, after that, man, it was a wrap. I had over 120 amateur fights and actually won the Golden Gloves 8 times. So I've been at a national level plenty of times.
So, what was it like missing that then, having done it for so long? You took this hiatus for, sounds like almost a year. Was it strange not having boxing around at that time?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of was into my job and stuff like that, and mom passing was kind of a setback for me. She was always at my fights, and it was just hard for me to continue that fast. So, but we're back. Like I said, we're back and ready to rock and roll. I want to say thanks for Eduardo for stepping up and taking this fight. He said he's been wanting to fight me for a while, so now he's going to get his chance.
What do you think about comments like that?
Um, I don't know. Everybody wants to fight until they get hit. um, I guess he got some balls, so we'll see how it goes on the 12th. He was stating he wanted a knockout, so we'll see how that goes for him.
Does it give you that even more jolt that it's in Clovis again?
Oh yeah, always that hometown fire, with the crowd supporting you, and people having your back in your hometown. It gives you that extra oomph to want to do more and do better. And we're going for the KO as well, so we'll see what happens.
So we're expecting fireworks.
Oh yeah, you expect some bombs.
It's heavyweights. I don't expect this to go long. I believe it's set for 4 rounds.
Yeah, it's 4 rounds.
I don't see it going 4 rounds. Do you see it going 4 rounds?
We'll see what happens. We'll see how he reacts to the jab, and I'll know within the first 20 seconds how he reacts. What round I'm gonna take him out in.
Can you even tell us about what it's like having that much experience, all the amateur bouts that you've been in? People look at your record, oh, he's only fought 3 times as a professional. But that over 100 fights, that's a huge number. Tell us about experience.
Experience is a big factor, even coming from the amateur ranks to the pros, as far as keeping your composure and knowing what you're going to do in there. You know, I've always been taught that stay nice, calm, and relaxed, and that's what I do best. My first pro fight, I fought Emmanuel Eastman, I believe his name was. He had already had 5 pro fights, and I stopped him in 1 minute and 30 seconds. So people really hadn't heard of me as far as the pro ranks goes. But we're here, and we're here to wreck shop, so we'll see what happens in the future.
When you look back at the last fight, do you even look back at the last fight where your mind wasn't at? Have you looked back at that footage to see where you were at, what you were doing?
Yeah, my mind wasn't right. A lot of stuff on my mind as far as my mom goes, her being sick and her fighting for her life. So I shouldn't have stepped in there, but like I said, I love the sport and I love to do it, and it's just in my blood. Like I said, my dad boxed as a youngster too, so he's been training over 35 years. So I just love the sport.
Do you remember when you asked if you could start training? Do you remember that?
Actually, I wasn't even training in the gym when I was young. He'd bring a pair of mitts home and teach me like that. And he actually taught me how to fight like the littler guys, to throw punches and bunches. So my hand speed and stuff like that developed when I got older, and it just stayed with me. So I use that to my advantage, my hand speed and my jab. So
obviously, a lot of guys always in the industry that talk about it's hard getting fights. When you were active, was it even harder at your weight class, being in a heavyweight, trying to get fights?
Around here, yes. I don't get as much sparring as I need. As a matter of fact, around here, it's hard to find guys like that to spar. The guys that I do spar in the gym, I usually stop them with a body shot or they gas out quick. It's definitely hard. That's why when I was fighting amateur, I used to travel to Mississippi or to Nevada, or when I went to nationals or stuff like that, I'd fight all over the country. When you go that far, then they're around. But around here, it's kind of scarce.
It's talking about punches and bunches, talking about guys gassing out on you. So you really try to be a big man who implements a small man style?
Yes, I do. I try to box and I try to use my hand speed as an advantage. Big guys usually don't throw punches and bunches and use a hard, stiff jab like I was raised or taught to do. So I totally agree. I think I have an advantage over a lot of heavyweights.
And you have a problematic style for them.
Yes. Oh yes. They don't like hand speed. Hand speed is a killer for them big guys.
And do you get a lot of people that, have you seen the look on a guy like, wow, the surprise look when they see that hand speed?
Well, yeah, like I told you before, with Eduardo, I'll know within the first 20 seconds once I hit him with that jab what he's about. So if I hit him with that jab and he backs up, then he's in trouble.
Returning to action, have you thought about a goal for the year? Thinking about like a number of fights you would hope to get in?
Actually, after this fight, we have one set up with Coach Isidro, with my promoter, in Corpus Christi. So I'm thinking maybe 4 or 5 fights this year.
So ready to hit the ground running again?
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're ready to take that top spot.
And you also mentioned you're doing all this while working a full-time job. Full-time job.
Yes, sir. I
What?
work. I work as a car salesman, and part time, and I actually work for a friend of mine that has. He makes calf milk, so I'm constantly all day picking up 50-pound bags and loading 50-pound bags on a pallet, which are stacked 50 high. So we're ready to rock and roll, man. It's gonna be a good show.
So you get that kind of old school strength and conditioning work in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I leave home from here. And I go straight to the gym. I run my 2.5 miles, and that's my day.
What was it about boxing? Could you describe it? Why you love it so much?
Just the technical part, I think about it. Like I said, my dad raised me around it, so I just learned to love it, man, and it beats any other sport to me. Of course, MMA is a hell of a sport as well, but any combat sport like that, man, I love. Just any contact sport. So I just fell in love with it, man, and it's my life right now. So,
Growing up, who was your favorite fighter?
I'm gonna have to say Diego Chico Corrales, just because of his heart. He had a no quit attitude. Just an all around good fighter. That's probably my best fighter.
And now, who would be the guy that you most tune in to watch now, that you feel is most must see in the boxing world?
I'd have to say Tank Davis.
What is it about his
Gervonta
performances?
Davis.
Yeah, the Mayweather protege.
He just slick, knows what he wants to do in there, and I like that kind of attitude. Of course, his hand speed. I just feed off stuff like that. So I'd have to say Gervonta.
So do you go into the ring next Saturday with that same kind of demeanor, knowing what you want to do?
Yeah, that's the demeanor I've always had. I want to go in there and control the fight and make him do what I want him to do. So that's the way I was raised to fight, and that's what we're going to do come Saturday.
Before I let you go, how can the fans keep up with following you?
I have a fan page, Elijio Sena I on Facebook. I don't have Twitter right now, but we'll get that going. There's a fan page on there if you want to keep up with my fights and what's going on in my career. More than happy to add yourself. And all fans welcome. So.
And real quick, you bring up the nickname, the Sinner. How did you get it?
Actually, my mom came up with it. I guess because I don't know if it rhymed or what, so I just stuck with it. I don't know how good of a name it is, but it stuck. So I'm gonna keep that. My mom came up with it, so we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep that.
How much will she be on your mind fight night?
She's on my mind every time I step in that ring. She them over 100 amateur fights. She never missed a beat. She was always at my fight, and she'll be there with me Saturday night. So no doubt about it.
Last off, any other people that you needed to thank or shout out to?
I'd like to shout out Eric Swan for letting me train up there. My dad, of course, my mama, my girl, Lacey. She's had my back ever since we started this camp. She rides with me 100%. So just New Mexico, watch out because I'm back.
KS